Imalsha's Research Guide. Research guidance for students and professionals.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Imalsha's Research Guide. If you are a student, researcher, or professional looking to use SPSS for data analysis, today I'm going to show you exactly how to install SPSS on your computer. It is easier than you think. So let's dive in.
SPSS stands for Statistical Package for the Social Sciences, but in simple terms, it's a software that helps you manage, analyze, and visualize data easily. With SPSS, you can enter your research data and organize it neatly, run all sort of statistical analysis from simple things like averages and percentages to advanced tests like regression and ANOVA. Make charts, tables, and graphs that look professional for your reports or presentations. Save time and reduce error using syntax commands. Basically, SPSS is your best friend for research data.
Why should you use SPSS?
Now you might be wondering why not just Excel or another tool? Well, here why SPSS is so popular. First up, it's super easy to use. Seriously, you don't need to be a stat genius. Most things are just point and click and you are go to go. Next, the analysis options are powerful. Whether you are doing basic starts or diving to advanced test, SPSS has everything you need. No need to juggle multiple programs. And managing your data. Piece of cake. Cleaning, transforming, organizing, it all happens smoothly, saving you from hours of manual work. Then comes the fun part, beautiful output. Charts, graphs, tables, they are all publications ready. So your research not only works well but look professional too. Another huge plus, reproducibility. You can save your steps in text files and run them anytime. No need to start from scratch if you need to update your analysis. Plus, SPSS plays well with others. Import Excel files, CSVs, and more without a headache. Honestly, SPSS is a tool time saver. It keeps your research accurate, organized, and looking sharp. Once you start using it, you will wonder how you ever manage without.
Who uses SPSS?
Okay, let's go to the big question. Who actually uses SPSS? Well, honestly, it's anyone who deals with the data. And I mean anyone. Let me give you a few examples. First off, student and researchers. Whether it's for assignments, surveys, thesis, for dissertations, SPSS makes analyzing data so much easier. Then there are psychologists and social scientists. They use it to study human behavior, social trends, patterns, basically making sense of people's actions. Next, healthcare professionals. From analyzing patients' data to running clinical trials or research studies, SPSS is the go-to tool. Of course, we can't forget business analysis and market researchers. They use it to understand customer behavior, sales trends, and market dynamics. And last but definitely not least, government and public sector professionals. They use SPSS for census data, policy analysis, and all kind of public research. So really, if you work with data in any form, SPSS is a tool you are going to love.
How to install SPSS on your computer.
Alright guys, before we dive into SPSS, let's quickly talk about installation. Now I know there are tons of YouTube videos out there showing step by step how to install SPSS. So I won't go into the actual installation steps here, mainly because I already have SPSS versions 20 installed and I've been working using it for over 6 years across all kind of research projects. So I'm super familiar with it and my focus today is to help you use SPSS effectually. If you haven't installed SPSS yet, I highly request to check out those installations videos first. They do a great job of walking you through the process.
Let's explore the SPSS interface.
Alright, I'm assuming you have already installed SPS software. So now let's jump in and take a look at the SPSS interface. When you first open SPSS, you will notice two main windows, the data editor and the output viewer. Now this is the data view. This is where all the actions happens. You enter, view and manage your dataset here. Each row represents a case like a participants or an observations. Each column represents a variable like age, gender, or score. So you can either type values directly into the cells or import data from Excel, which is super convenient if you already have your data organized. Now let's switch over to the output viewer. This is where SPS shows all the results of your analysis. Think of it as your report center, tables, chart, a statistical test, everything pop up here. You don't enter data in this window. Instead, you view and interpret the results generated from your data editor. The output viewer is super handy because you can export tables and charts directly into Word, PowerPoint, or PDF for your reports. And don't worry, we will go through some examples soon so you can see exactly how it works in real research scenarios. In the data editor, you will notice there are actually two tabs. The first one is the data view, which I explained earlier. Now let's look at the second one, the variable view. Variable view is where you set up your variables and define all properties before running any analysis. This part is really important because it tells SPSS exactly how to read and treat your data.
How to navigate the SPSS menu.
Alright, now let's look at the SPSS menu bar. This is basically your control center. Everything you need for managing data, running tests, and creating visuals is right here. Let me quickly walk you through what each menu does.
File. This is where you open, save, and import or export your datasets. Edit. Here you can undo, redo, copy, paste, or search for specific values. View. Use this to customize how SPSS looks, toolbars, grid lines, windows, all that good stuff. Data. This menu helps you sort, filter, merge, or split your dataset depending on your needs. Transform. You can compute new variables, recode existing ones, and make changes to your data structure. Analyze. This is the heart of SPSS. All your statistical tests, descriptive stats, correlations, regressions, ANOVA, you'll find them here. Direct marketing, an optional add-on module that provides tools for analyzing customer data to improve marketing campaigns, such as performing recency, frequency, and monetary (RFM) analysis. If you're working with customer behavior or marketing data, this tab is really helpful. Otherwise, you might not use it often. Graphs. Create charts, plots, and visualizations to represent your data clearly. Utilities. This tab gives you extra tools to manage and explore your SPSS file. Here, you can check variable properties, view file information, run scripts, and get quick summaries about your dataset. It's mainly for behind-the-scenes tasks that help you understand or organize your data better. Utilities. This tab gives you extra tools to manage and explore your SPSS file. Here, you can check variable properties, view file information, run scripts, and get quick summaries about your dataset. It's mainly for behind-the-scenes tasks that help you understand or organize your data better. Window. This helps you manage all the SPSS windows you have open. If you're working with multiple datasets or output files, this tab lets you switch between them easily. You can arrange windows side by side, bring one to the front, or minimize others. It's basically your workspace organizer inside SPSS. Help. This is your go-to place when you need guidance inside SPSS. Here, you can access the SPSS Help Center, search for topics, learn about specific functions, and read tutorials. It also includes information about your SPSS version and system details. Basically, whenever you get stuck, the Help tab is there to support you.
Alright, I think by now you have a good basic understanding of the SPSS menu bar. So let's move on to the next part, understanding the different type of SPSS file.
What are the different SPSS file types?
Now let's talk about the different file types you'll come across when working with SPSS. Each one has its own purpose, so it's good to know what they mean. SAV formats. This is your main dataset file. This is where all your data lies, so always make sure to save your work in this format. SPV format. This is your output viewer file. All your chart, tables and analysis result get saved here. SPS format. This is a syntax file. If you write or save SPSS command, they are stored in this format. It is super useful if you want to repeat the same analysis later. PO format. This is an old output file format used in previous SPS versions. You might still see it if you open very old projects.
So whenever you're working on a dataset, make sure to save it as a .sav file. That's the safest way to keep your data secure and avoid losing your work. Alright everyone, that's a wrap for episode 1 of SPSS for data analysis. Today, we learned what SPSS is and why it's so useful for research and data analysis. Who uses SPSS in real life? The main windows you'll be working with. How to navigate the menu bar and understand different SPSS file types. Now that you've got a solid foundation, it's time to move forward. In episode 2, we'll get hands-on with your first dataset. You'll learn how to create a new SPSS dataset from scratch. How to save and open SPSS files safely. What SPSS syntax is and why it's a game changer for repeating analyses. How to customize the SPSS toolbar to make your workflow faster. And finally, tips on organizing SPSS windows efficiently so you can work like a pro. So get ready to dive deeper, because in the next episode, we'll start working directly in SPSS and take your first steps towards smooth, professional data analysis. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, stay curious and happy researching.
Stay tuned with Imalsha's Research Guide.